Hello guys, and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about the books that I read in April and May. Now, I have not done any type of reading wrap-up on this channel at all, so we're going to start now, and I'm going to combine those last 2 months because I didn't read a ton. Read 5 books in each of those months, so we're going to talk about all 10 of the books today. And while I am talking to you guys about the books, I'm going to be working on a crochet project. This is a skirt that I'm making to wear literally tomorrow, so I have to get this done, and here's what it's looking like. Anyway, I'm going to be working on this, and we're going to talk about the books. The first book that I completed in April is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This was a book that I read for a video where I read books that I had previously DNF'd because I wanted to come back to it. I think the reason that I didn't read this book, I can't talk with holding this, so this is gonna sit right here. The reason that I had originally DNF'd it was mainly because it was the first adult romance I'd ever picked up, and I was used to reading like YA fantasy or, you know, more of that type of book. Usually, like, my favorite books when I was younger were like Gail Carson Levine, I think is her name. She wrote Elle Enchanted. That was my favorite book. And so like when I'm used to that type of book and then I picked up People We Meet on Vacation, I was like, this is not cutting it for me. I do not like this writing style, whatever. So I ended up putting it down. But I am so glad I picked it back up because I ended up giving this book 4 stars. Mainly what I love about it is the 2 characters, Alex and Poppy, they just really got each other's humor. They were best friends. It's like a best friends to lovers story. I think another thing that I didn't love when I first read it, that I ended up really appreciating the second time around, the way that the story goes from one timeline and then it goes backwards. But as you're reading the book, you realize that it's all coming together to the same time, if that makes sense. And so that was really interesting, a very creative choice. I don't know that I personally enjoy reading that kind of story, but I think it's clever and I like the way that she did it if she was planning to do it. This book is about the 2 best friends who go on a vacation with each other every single summer, and it picks up when they are not talking to each other and you don't really know why. It's still not my favorite Emily Henry for sure, but I definitely enjoyed my time. The second book that I read in April, I actually didn't physically read it. This one I listened to the audiobook, and that is the second book in the Summer I Turned Pretty series. It's Not Summer Without You. Because it's the second book in a series, I definitely don't want to say too much about it, but just know that this one revolves a little bit more around grief. And the thing I loved about the first book, which I don't really think I made a review of it in a short form video, but I loved the first book so much because it perfectly encapsulated the feeling of summer and the feeling of having a crush when you're young. Like, it was so cute and I loved it. This book was a little bit heavier, although it's still YA, so it's like, it doesn't feel super heavy as you'd think it would be, but it is a little bit sad. I ended up rating this one 3.5 stars. It wasn't my favorite. It was a little bit hard to get through, even though it's a really short book. I think I really loved the first one for like a very specific reason, the way that it just was so happy and carefree. The second book just didn't feel that way. So yeah, this one was a 3.5. The next book that I finished was also in that books that I had soft DNF video, and that book is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This book I had originally DNF'd because I was bored and because I'm not huge on fantasy, but again, I am happy that let's flip these around, hold on. I am happy, however, that I ended up reading it because it made me really want to read the second one. As I finished the first one, I was like, oh, I kind of want to know what happens. This book is very gothic vibes. It's honestly very interesting writing. I enjoyed it a lot. I will say that something about the writing was off to me and I don't really know what it was. And it might just be personal preference, but For some parts of it, I just had a hard time understanding what was happening, if that makes sense, because of the writing style, but I think that was definitely also a creative choice. I definitely loved it a lot more the second time around, and I do want to continue. It is a duology, so I would love to read book 2. It's like kind of hard to explain, but it has a really interesting magic system. So the main character in this book gets an infection that is, honestly, if you get the infection, it's like illegal. The government will literally take care of you, if you know what I mean. She gets this, but she is hidden by her family, and she ends up getting this nightmare in her head who talks to her, and he's just always there. The story goes from there. I'm not gonna say anything else, but if you would like to read a gothic fantasy, I would definitely recommend it. I ended up giving it 3.75 stars, with the potential that book 2 could be higher. The next book that I read was for another video where my best friend chose the books that I read, and she made me read the first Hunger Games book. And if you can tell that I'm smiling a lot, it's because I loved it. It was absolutely 5 stars. I was not expecting that, honestly, because you know, you hear about these books that everyone loves and they just completely blew up and it was like a huge moment. But the fact that it was YA, I was like, I just don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna like it, you know? Like, I don't know. I loved it so much. I'm so excited to read the rest of the series. I'm actually going to be making a full video of me reading the entire series for the first time. It'll still be spoiler-free, but it will be the whole series, including the 2 newest books that have come out. And I'm really excited about it, because if this book was 5 stars, imagine. I'm not even gonna go into anything about the Hunger Games. You guys probably already know the Hunger Games. Oh, also, like, it was so cool because I did kind of know how the first book ended, but I have no idea what happens after that, truly. So please no spoilers. I'm really excited to read the whole series. Quick little drinking break. I have a cotton candy Alani. I didn't even know they made cotton candy Alanis. But continuing on. The last book I completed in April, I also have a vlog on, a dedicated vlog to Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, because it was my absolutely most anticipated read of the year. I am not going to say too much about this one, because if you would like to see my full review and all of my thoughts, there is a full vlog for it. So I'll link that, and just know that I ended up giving it 4 stars. Also forgot to hold up Hunger Games. Here it is. Sorry about that. I read Great Big Beautiful Life on my Kindle because I did not want the hardcover. So all my other Emily Henry books are all the paperback. Like, I still haven't read A Funny Story because I was waiting for the paperback to come out, and I bought that. So moving right along to May. Guys, I finished The Women in May, and that was my second Kristen Hanna book. Also in the vlog where my best friend chose the books that I read. That one was 5 stars. Such a good book. I still will say that I preferred Firefly Lane to The Women. The subject matter that is followed in Firefly Lane, I really love. Like, it is like one of my favorite types of stories of all time. And this one is, you know, about war, which is a great story, especially hearing about the women in the war. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on that, you can watch that vlog. I don't really have a ton more to say besides the fact that it was definitely 5 stars and was a very emotional read, and I loved it. That one I listened to the audiobook of because I'm on a book buying ban. I think I got on Audible because I had credits, so. But yeah, it was super good. The next book that I read was a book by an author that I absolutely never thought I would read a book from, and that is Varity by Colleen Hoover. I decided at a certain point that I did not want to read a single Colleen Hoover book, but this was again chosen for me by my best friend. I had to read it for the video, and I am very glad I did, because this book was such a good thriller. Oh my gosh, so many trigger warnings. If you are triggered by things, maybe don't read this book. Honestly, like kind of smutty for a thriller, which was kind of weird, but I ended up skipping over those scenes, so I don't know how graphic it gets. I just know that it was leaning that way. I ended up giving this one 4 stars because it was just like, I don't know, I still think about it. I still think about this book, and that's a sign that a book is good, in my opinion, or just like so bad that you can't stop thinking about it. But this one was just, I don't know. I think it was very fascinating. honestly. And then I ended up listening to the final book in the Summer I Turned Pretty series, We'll Always Have Summer. This one was definitely better than the second one, in my opinion. Also, I will say, anybody who is waiting for the third season of the show to come out, if they follow the same exact plot as the book, like, I'm scared for some of you guys, because this book has so much going on. Just, honestly, entertaining, man. It was entertaining. I will say, like, kind of as it was getting near the end, I was like, okay, I am done. I'm done with this series. Like, I'm done. I'm ready to be done. I did enjoy the way that it wrapped up, though, and I gave this one 4 stars. I am not going to say what this book follows, like what plot line, because it's very much a spoiler, and I wouldn't do that to you guys. I also did start, why did I say it like that? I also did start watching the show, and I think I talked about it on here, but since I talked about it on here, I kind of DNF'd the show because I just don't, I don't know. I wasn't really loving it, so I don't really think I'll continue. There's a chance I'll continue if the third season comes out and everyone's like going crazy about it, but yeah, we'll see. The next book that I completed in May was Just Last Night by Varity McFarlane. This book was great. I loved it. I ended up giving this one 4.5 stars. This is also in a video. I can't remember which one, but I'll link it down below. And like up in the cards, or the cards. I don't know which side is the cards. I've been doing this for years and I still don't know, but whatever. Yeah, this book was really good. I was thinking that I was gonna like her writing because I had heard Haley Pham really loves this author, right? And I don't always have matching tastes with Haley Pham, so I wasn't really sure, but she would read like little clips of the writing sometimes in her videos, and this book specifically, she read some lines and I was like, oh, okay, that's good writing, and so I decided to pick it up, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. 4.5 stars. That's a good rating. The only reason it wasn't 5 stars is because it just didn't give me that 5-star feeling when I finished it, but I did love how it was like kind of a non-traditional flow to the story. I think it's categorized as a romance, but I definitely would not say it's a romance. I would say it's more of like women's fiction. Just follows this woman's life. The humor in it is honestly amazing. I had a great time reading it. All around, pretty good book. It will kind of spoil anything if I say basically anything about it, but I'll just say that it follows this friend group of 4 people, and then something happens that completely changes everything. Then you're just kind of following that story. I am coming up on the end of one of these rounds. I don't know how many more rounds I need to make on this thing, truly. But before I talk about the last book, look, this is, okay, so this is the skirt, right? And I'm making it, you know, kind of a similar length to the skirt I have on now. My thought is I am running out of this yarn, like this is all I have left, and I was planning to make a top that goes with it, which I don't think I'm gonna get finished before tomorrow, unfortunately, but that's okay. I'll wear something else with it tomorrow. But after the fact, I'm wanting to make a top that goes with it, and I think I'm going to use this color. It's just like a dark gray color, and I think I'll use this as the main portion of the top, and then use the blue to border it, and then vice versa on this one. I'm gonna make a border at the bottom of this one that's gonna be in that gray color. I feel like that will look good. Kind of works. And then I'm also going to make this tie that's in the middle, which has like string. There's like, I need to tuck in ends and stuff, but I'm gonna make the tie also that gray color. So it'll kind of like bring the whole thing together. I think it's gonna look good. I hope so anyway. Anyway, the last book that I finished in May was Saving 6, and I read it on my Kindle. And tell me why. Binding and Keeping 13 were longer than this book, and this one took me forever. It was so hard for me to get through, I don't know why. I also did not love it as much as I loved the first 2 books. One of the things that I loved about Binding and Keeping 13 was that Johnny and Shannon really had quite a healthy relationship as far as like a teenage romance can go. Like, I think that it was really cute. I loved their dynamic, and I mean, some things seemed slightly problematic, but you know, whatever. But this book, following Joey and Aoife, I think that's how you say her name, it's hard because like it's literally so toxic. Not toxic like Magnolia Park's toxic, but like, you know, he's literally a little druggy, and, you know, she likes him because he's a bad boy, and it's just like, I don't know. I do love them as characters, and I think it's great, but I just didn't love it as much as I liked the first 2 books, and it's making it a little hard for me to want to pick up the next one, which is what, Redeeming 6, I think? But I do want to pick up Redeeming 6 because then I need to get through Taming 7 and then be able to read the new one that just came out. I still ended up giving it 4 stars. So I would say these last 2 months were some of my best reading months of the entire year, and even though I didn't read as many books, I think that the books that I did read ended up being rated so highly for me that I'm not too mad about it. I am definitely behind on my goal of 100 books this year. That's the goal I set at the beginning of the year. It's something I would really love to achieve, but we'll just have to see because that's a lot of freaking books. Long story short, I love the books that I've read this month. And also because I said long story short and I'm thinking about it, I'm so happy for Miss Taylor Swift that she bought back her masters. And that's all I'm gonna say. If you guys enjoyed today's video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, leave me a comment on what's your favorite book that you read last month, this year, whatever. I'm always taking recommendations. I would say that my favorite was probably, honestly, it was probably Hunger Games. Not gonna lie, that one was really good. Which, like, yeah, okay, everybody knew that. Like, everybody freaking knows that, but anyway, that's gonna be all from me. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.